The G20 Summit, right, marking a very important moment in the history of South Africa. And let's look at what this weekend means for Brand South Africa. We speak to branding expert and founder of brand leadership group, Thebe Ikalafeng. Thebe, very good evening to you, and thank you so much for your time. Perhaps we start right there. What does this weekend then mean for Brand South Africa and Brand Africa?
Well, there is no bigger branding platform for any country than what the G20 has represented for South Africa. And I think it gives the country as an opportunity, not just a representation opportunity, but also as a megaphone to tell the story of the bigger African story.
And when you look at the bigger African story, right, because we just heard from President Cyril Ramaphosa, for example, who says that this is a continent on the rise. And I wonder, how then does the world begin to process Africa's story?
Well, if you look at the metrics, let's just narrow it down to South Africa. When you look at South Africa in terms of from an infrastructure perspective, in terms of industrialization opportunity, South Africa is definitely on the rise. You look at the progress we're making with the transformation of Eskom and Transnet. So we have a good story to tell as a country. Continentally, everybody's looking to the continent, and this is an opportunity for Africa to drive its own agenda. I mean, we've got an Agenda 2063 for an integrated, prosperous and peaceful continent. The G20 gives us an opportunity to drive that message, the message about a broader industrialization for the continent, but also framing the continent as an investable opportunity.
And Thebe, you've, of course, been watching these developments very closely. Before we even get into what this opportunity means for the youth of South Africa, for example, let's look at, as the world leaders, right, have been descending on our shores, how would you say Brand South Africa has done and performed there, as really we've been watching those visuals unfold?
Well, yesterday I was at the B20. When I was in South Africa yesterday, I was at the B20, and it's a proud moment to see our president and all the business leaders gathered in the Room Center, Convention Center. And I think it told a story of a very proud, a story of a very strong a country that is capable and that is inspirational in the continent. I think South Africa, we have performed very well as a country, not just in our individual capacity, but also in a representative capacity as the leading gateway, as a gateway to the continent. And
as we continue to glean then from this weekend, right, because a lot of people are hoping that we continue and we keep this going, the young people become very important because there's many of them in this country, lots of opportunity. And you think about the fact that a summit like this one also speaks volumes about the future prospects of this country.
And it then speaks to the idea that we need to leverage this opportunity, not just as a participant, but also as a performance our platform. We need to look at this opportunity to position this country as a country and a continent that has got consistent policies when it comes to economics, when a country that's got predictable policies with respect to the key challenges of energies, of jobs and investment, but a country that also that has got a credible domestic reforms, and we're beginning to see those as well. And I think for the youth of the country, when they look at this opportunity, the key takeaway for them should say that as a country, as a continent, we've got a good story to tell. Let's build on that story. Let's leverage this opportunity to tell to make some of the reforms that we need in this continent.
Thebe, always appreciate your time. Thank you so much for talking to us. And really, as you say, there's South Africa, really great prospects. Tonight, have been watching different developments with President Cyril Ramaphosa, even speaking to African leaders as well, and also addressing different gatherings. So certainly this week has been, quite the big week. And now moving towards the Leaders Summit there this weekend, and really quite the big push as you look at some of the conversations that will then be taking place. Branding expert and founder of Brand Leadership Group, Thebe Ikalafeng.